Hi everyone. Welcome to English Story today. Please don't forget like and subscribe. My name is Isabella. I'm 29 years old and I live in a small town in Brazil. When I was 17, my mother passed away, and from that moment my dad became both parents for my brother and me. My brother Roberto is 5 years younger than me. When our mother died, he felt very lonely and sad. Those were very hard days. We were all very sad. We missed our mother a lot. Even though I also needed love and comfort, I had to keep my brother busy and cheer him up. My dad was a construction worker. He worked long hours to support us. He was quiet but strong, and he always found time to sit with me in the evenings asking about my day. His quiet support gave me the strength to keep going. 1 year passed since my mother died. I finished my school. I didn't want to be a burden on my father anymore. I started working at a coffee shop. With my salary, I also helped pay for my brother's needs. I dreamed of marrying a good man, having a small house, one child, and a dog. One day, I was waiting at the bus stop when I saw him. He was a young and handsome man, with dark blue eyes and blonde hair. He smiled at me and asked for directions. Then he shook my hand and said, "I'm Jim." He said he was from America and had recently moved to Brazil. Then he got on the bus with me and sat next to me. He said he really loves Brazil. He had traveled to many cities, and especially liked our city very much. He said he wanted to stay here forever. Then he said to me, "Can I have your phone number, so we can see each other sometimes? Because I really like you, and I want to see you more often." From the first time I saw him, my heart felt something special. I wanted to see him again. So I said yes and gave him my number. From that day on, we saw each other almost every day, and I was falling more and more in love with him. Sometimes I wondered how I could have lived before him. A year had passed since we started dating. One day I began feeling sick and I couldn't stay at my job. A few days went by, and my condition got worse. One of my friends, who was worried, bought me a pregnancy test and told me to try it. I didn't believe it at all, but she was right. I was pregnant. I felt terrible. It was not a good situation at all, but I had to tell Jimmy, and we had to go through this journey together. We went to the park, and I asked him how much he loved me. He said he could give up all his dreams and goals for me. Then I told him I was pregnant. Suddenly, his face turned red and stared into my eyes with a strange look I had never seen before. When I felt that he didn't want the baby and was upset, it broke my heart and tears streamed down my face. Jimmy just looked at me and said nothing. After my crying stopped, he said he hadn't expected this at all and needed time to think about it. My heart sank. I said, "But we love each other." He was silent. Then he said, "I need space." That night he didn't touch me. After that, he changed. No more calls. No more visits. I went to his flat, but he didn't answer. I sent him one last message. He replied, "I'm sorry. I can't do this." And that was it. I didn't know what to do. I just cried. My friend and I looked for a way to end the pregnancy, but I was very scared. I knew it could be dangerous. I also felt guilty. Finally, I decided to tell my father. He was shocked. He couldn't believe what I said. But he was also against abortion. I really wished my mother was alive to help me. I felt lost. But every day, my baby grew inside me. I went to the doctor. I saw my baby's heartbeat. I cried and smiled. I worked until I couldn't anymore. I bought baby clothes. I tried to be ready. Then one night, I felt strong pain. My dad took me to the hospital. After many hours, I heard a tiny cry. "It's a boy," the nurse said. I held him close. He was soft and warm. I whispered, "Hello, baby. I'm your mummy." I named him Noah. Noah was my light. We stayed in the hospital for 2 days. Then we went home. At night, it was just me and him. He cried a lot. I hardly slept. I fed him. I changed him. I held him. Sometimes I cried too. But when I looked at his small face, I smiled and said, "I love you." Jim never came. Never called. One day I saw him in town. He walked past me. He looked at me, then turned away. I wanted to scream, "How can you leave your son?" But I said nothing. I looked down at Noah in his stroller. 3 months after Noah was born, I started looking for a new job again. I wanted a job where I could take Noah with me. Finally, I got a job at a daycare. I cleaned the place, washed dishes, and changed the baby's diapers. But I felt happy because Noah was close to me and he was safe. When I came home, I cooked food for the next day and did the housework. After finishing everything and after putting Noah to sleep, I sat quietly for a few minutes. The house was silent. I looked at my little boy and smiled. I was tired, but I felt proud. I was doing my best. Made a cup of tea for myself. I sat on the sofa, closed my tired eyes, and ate tea with cookie. I told myself, "This is your life. You can handle it. You are strong, and you will become even stronger for your son." Noah grew fast. He started walking at 13 months. He fell many times, but he got up again. I clapped for him. He smiled with all his teeth. My heart felt full. I said, "You are so brave." Time passed. Nova turned 2. He started to talk more. He sat up, played with toys, and laughed. I didn't have many friends. They were busy with their lives. They went out in the evenings. They posted happy photos online. I stayed home. I sang to Noah. I told him, "I'm here. You are not alone." Sometimes I ask myself, does anyone live like me? Did anyone else raise their child alone? Before I tell the rest of my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching or listening from? Sometimes I think, is there someone out there who hears me? Someone who knows how I feel? If you are, please write in the comments. It helps me feel strong to know I'm not alone. My dad played with Noah and made him giggle. I was thankful. I saw Jim again. He looked at Noah, then turned away. I kissed Noah's head and whispered, "You don't need him. I'm enough." Money was tight. My job didn't pay much. I bought baby food and clothes for Noah. Nothing for me. I wore old jeans and shirts. I didn't care. Noah was all that mattered. One day in the park, I saw Jim again. He was with a red-haired woman. They held hands. I looked away. I didn't want Noah to see him. He didn't know his father. At night, I whispered to Noah, "You are only mine. I have you, and you have me. We don't need anyone else. We have each other, and that is enough." A letter came from the council. I was offered a flat. 1 bedroom. 1 bathroom. My own. I was happy. I didn't want to be a burden to my father. He should have his own life too. We packed and moved. It was small, but it was ours. We ate toast on the floor that night. I said, "This is home now." Life was still hard. I worked, cooked, and cared for Noah. I read him bedtime stories. Sometimes I felt alone. I missed someone to hug me. But I didn't miss Jim. I wanted real love, love that doesn't leave. One day at work, a woman with a baby said, "It's hard, isn't it?" I smiled. "Yes, but they're worth it," she said. "You're doing great." When I saw men holding and kissing their children, I felt sad for Noah. I felt guilty. Noah turned 3. He asked, "Why is the moon round?" He loved to learn. At night, he sat on my lap. We read about a blue dinosaur. He always said, "Again." I kissed him good night and held his hand as he slept. Time passed. A letter came. Noah was ready for school. I cried. My baby was growing up. He wanted a blue backpack. We went shopping. He chose one with stars. He wore it at home and marched around. I laughed. He looked proud. I was proud too, but also a little scared. He turned 4. He made friends. He said, "Mom, Mia has a puppy. Can we get one?" I smiled, maybe one day. I changed my job and became a cook in a restaurant. I started making more money. I worked more hours. I saved what I could. At work, I was quiet. I did my job. I smiled at customers, but inside I felt tired. My feet hurt. My back hurt. But I always said I am okay. One evening, Nova had a fever. His head was hot. He cried and would not eat. I called the doctor. He said, "It may be a virus. Keep him cool and give him water." I held him all night. I did not sleep. I was afraid. I sang soft songs. I said, "Please get better." In the morning, he still had a fever. I stayed home. My boss was not happy. He said, "You can't miss so many days." I said, "My baby needs me." He said, "Be careful. You need this job." I felt scared. I did not want to lose the job. I needed it for my son. One night, Noah asked, "Mom, do I have a dad?" My heart stopped. I sat next to him. I didn't know how to tell him without breaking his little heart, but slowly, I told him. "Why do you ask?" I said. He said, "At school, my friend said his dad picks us up." "Do I have a dad, too?" I felt something in my chest. I held his hand. I said, "Yes, you have a dad, but he does not live with us." He asked, "Why not?" I said, "He chose another life. He did not want to stay." Noah looked at me and said, "But I have you." I held him close. "Yes, and I will never leave. We have each other." That night I cried a little in the kitchen. I cried quietly. I did not want him to hear, but I was very sad. When I was taking him to school, Noah held my hand tightly. I said, "You are brave," he said. "Will you wait for me?" I said, "Always." He looked back and waved. I smiled and waved back. Then I walked outside and sat on a bench. I cried again. Not because I was sad, but because I was proud. Our life was still simple. I still worked long hours. I still counted every coin. But I had a little boy who smiled at me every morning. He said, "Good morning, Mom," with joy in his voice. That was more than enough. His teacher said, "Noah is doing great." She also said he is a happy and kind boy. "You're doing a wonderful job." Her words warmed my heart. Maybe I was doing okay. Everywhere we went, everyone liked Nava and said congratulations to me. I smiled. I said, "He is." I thought about everything. The tears, the nights alone, the fear. Then I looked at his strong little legs. His big smile, his bright eyes. Yes, I thought he is happy. And I did that alone. If you liked my story, please like, comment, and share. More simple and emotional stories are coming soon.